Texas Tech is bowl eligible. Is the season a success? What does our top four look like? Are the Eagles the best team in football? And can Red Raider basketball pick up a marquee win? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle.
Texas Tech is bowl eligible for the 38th time in school history. Billy, do you consider this season a success? And who would you like to see them play?
Well, first off, I want to say what I consider a success. I don't necessarily know about that. With the improvements that we've had on our defense and the high hopes that we had for our offense coming into this year, you would think that we would like to get out at least two of those games that we lost. Lost a close one to Oklahoma State and that close one to Kansas State.
And that West Virginia game.
And the West Virginia game that we blow just completely. So did we save face by winning this game against Texas? Absolutely. Did Cliff Kingsbury possibly secure his job for another year? Absolutely. And I think without this Texas win and not going bowl eligible for another season, that would have been very detrimental to this team and to this program, really. And who knows where we would have went. But I do think it was an adequate season. I don't think anybody had expectations for us to win the Big 12 or even finish even in the top three. So being able to say that we are bowl eligible, something that I do feel comfortable with and that I'm happy. And some games that I like to maybe see us play, in a bowl matchup, maybe San Diego State. They've had a good year, smaller conference, only two-loss team. Ole Miss, they're 6-6 team.
You have A&M on that list?
See, I don't have A&M on this list.
I think A&M would be the team I would want to see Tech play in the Texas Bowl, maybe something like that, where you're not going to get into a great bowl with a 6-6 record, but you might as well have something where maybe if you can end the season with wins over Texas and Texas A&M, that's a pretty good way to end it. But yeah, as for the season, I guess the way it started to the way it ended, it doesn't seem like a success. But going into the season, I didn't think you're better than 5-7 or 6-6. So they're right where I thought they would be going into the season. But I think with the improvement of the defense, you just expected more. I think the most disappointing thing in the season was the offense and the way they struggled, because when's the last time you said the offense was the reason Texas Tech couldn't win football games here in Lubbock? So I think that was the biggest issue this season, and I think going forward, that needs to be fixed in the offseason, because I think next year with that defense, you're returning 10 out of 11 guys. That's going to be a really good team.
Yeah, and that's going to be real interesting to see who we put at quarterback. They started McLean Carter at the beginning of the game against Texas, and you got Jet Duffy waiting in the wings, just waiting for his opportunity to be called. So
could have been thought to have been the start of this season before the off-field issues.
Exactly. So I'm interested to see what happens, but nonetheless, I am excited that we do have a chance to make a bowl game. With number 1 and number 2 falling off this weekend, Kyle, what does your top four look like?
Well, at number 1, I have Oklahoma. I think they're the best. I think right now they've proven to me that they're the best team in football. I think they have the best wins out of most of the teams. Now, obviously, Auburn can make that case, but they have 2 losses, so I think that kind of keeps them from being number 1. Oklahoma's been nothing but dominant this season. You went on the road and dominated at Ohio State. They've looked better since, so that helps out that win. Your lone loss is Iowa State. In the past, you'd say, well, that's a really bad loss. I'd keep them. But I think they played so well this season, and Iowa State's been so good, it doesn't really matter. I have Clemson at 2, Auburn at 3. I think they're so good, even with 2 losses, I don't see them not being able to be left out. And then I have Wisconsin at 4. I think they're a good enough team. If they remain unbeaten, they have to be in.
Yeah, I agree with you basically all the way up until you're 3 and 4. I've got OU at 1, Clemson at 2. Wisconsin at 3 and Auburn at 4.
Just flip-flop them.
Yeah, and I do that because I feel like you've got to reward at least some bit about the unbeaten schedule.
It's tough to do that, especially in the Power 5
Exactly,
conference.
And you've got OU who had all the rights and should be undefeated, it looks like, but that one loss against Iowa State really crept up there and
they
caused
led
some
in that
blossom.
game too.
Yeah, and then Auburn. You got to put them in. It's a 2-loss team, and the only one that really I think has the one that has the strongest case about being a 2-loss team and making the top 4. Just the way that they went out and handled Alabama, it was nothing short of spectacular. The way they dominated on the defensive line and the way that they were able to run the ball.
Against such a solid defense in Alabama.
Exactly. And, when's the last time you've heard Alabama not being strong on the front line on both ends?
Yeah.
And so what Auburn was able to do to them was, extremely remarkable. But also in the same sense, Alabama is sitting out there in a weird spot now because now they don't play in the SEC title game.
They have a really – I think it's a long shot for them to make the playoff.
And see, I don't know that it is. I think I think, and as weird as it sounds, I think if Georgia beats Auburn, I think Alabama will jump up there and not Georgia.
See, I disagree with that because I think Auburn, when the rankings do come out, I think they're going to be in the top 4 or at least the top 5, and that ought to be a good enough win on Georgia's resume, plus a win over Notre Dame this season. I think that'll put them in because I just don't know if Alabama has that resume this season, which is weird to say, like you said, because Alabama usually does. But I think this year, I just don't see Alabama getting in.
I mean, I want to say that, but we haven't seen them out yet, so maybe this will be the first year.
Haven't seen a 2-loss team in the playoff either.
This is true.
See if that changes. After yet another dominating performance, Billy, are the Eagles the best team in football?
I mean, yeah, I think they just might be the way that they're dominating. If you're just looking at the eye test right now, and I think the only other team that you can compare to them is maybe the Patriots, Steelers, maybe, who've had their ups and downs. But right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are just controlling the ball or controlling the game in all facets. I mean, you've got the run game with the pickup of Jay Ajayi. Carson Wentz really coming into his own, playing remarkable this year, putting up MVP-like numbers. That defense.
I think he is the MVP.
He very well
if they
might.
keep winning like this.
I think you're right, especially if they win maybe 1-2 more games, and he still puts up good numbers in those games.
The division's locked up if the Cowboys lose on this Thursday. So you already got a chance to be in the playoffs. But yeah, I agree. The pickup of Ajayi, along with Corey Clement, has been a surprise for them in the backfield as well. Remember, this team lost Darren Sproles, and
he accounted for a big percentage of their offense.
But I think the biggest thing and the most underrated thing about this team was getting Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith in the offseason. I think that's what propelled them to be a better team. Their defense was there last year. Carson Wentz, you knew his talent, but now he has weapons on the outside.
Oh, yeah. And then I want to bring up another name, Brandon Graham right now, playing, leading that defensive line there for the Philadelphia Eagles. Got 7 sacks, first on the team, and 6 tackles for loss. That's second on the team. So he's playing phenomenally. That whole defensive line is playing great. And if they don't slow down, then they got themselves on a fast track to the Super Bowl possibly.
Sure do.
Texas Tech basketball is off to a hot start this season and have a tough matchup this Thursday in New York. The team will take on Seton Hall at Madison Square Garden. Kyle, can Texas Tech get the win?
Yeah, I think so. I think Seton Hall is a really good team. They're a tournament team. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament, but I also think Texas Tech's going to be there this season. They just got ranked in the AP Top 25 for the first time. It's been a while since Tech has been ranked, and they're number 22. Now the question is, can you handle being the favorite over the underdog? I think they're going to start being favorites in a lot more games. In fact, they're favored in the ESPN Power Index for this game against Seton Hall. I want to see how they handle that pressure, but it's a senior-laden team. Then you have a couple freshmen mixed in, as Zaire Smith and Jarrett Culver is playing lights out. Culver, 39 points in his last 2 games. Granted, it's against lower competition, but the kid can play. Zaire Smith can play. And this team is 10 guys deep. You have Keenan Evans, Justin Gray, Zach Smith, Tommy Hamilton, Naeem Stevenson. Then off the bench, you have Davide Moretti, Zaire Smith, Jarrett Culver, Norris Odiase, and Brandon Francis. That's 10 guys deep. Not many teams can boast that in the entire country.
Yeah, and I think you hit it, right on the hammer with that one. The depth of this Texas Tech team is just something I don't think that we've ever seen here, especially in our tenure while being here. We've always had a solid core group, but now we have people that come off the bench.
There's no drop-off.
Exactly. Yeah. We have people coming off the bench and scoring. Zaire Smith, I'll tell you right now, guys, he's going to be a star. That man has bunnies. He is an athletic.
6 dunks on Saturday.
He is an athletic guard who knows how to slash to the rim and can make jump shots. You watch out for him because I know in the years to come he'll be something to reckon with.
Tech get the win?
I think Tech does get the win. I think they keep this train rolling, and they take it.
Well, now it's time for Who You Got. Looking at the record, Billy does lead it right now, 14. He's 14-10, I'm 13-11. But one last time, I got one more chance to catch up on us. So let's go ahead and start off with Oklahoma versus TCU. It's the Big 12 championship game. Billy, who you got?
I got Oklahoma. I think Baker Mayfield's going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. He's been playing lights out all season. He's got his mind focused. He's been to the college football playoff before, and I think he doesn't want to end up short this year, which ultimately a loss against TCU will take them out of the playoff. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Well, playing Gary Patterson in about a 3-week span, I don't think any coach in the country would want to do that, but I still think Oklahoma will get the win. I think it'll be a lot closer than the first meeting between the two teams. I think Patterson will make some adjustments, but I think Oklahoma's the best team.
Yeah. Wisconsin takes on Ohio State. Kyle, who you got?
See, it was tough. I think Ohio State's playing really well right now. You don't know the status of J.T. Barrett. Their backup looked well, but I think Wisconsin's going to finish the season undefeated. They'll make the playoff.
Yeah, see, this is your chance right here to catch up on me because I think I'm going to take Ohio State if JT Barrett comes out and is relatively healthy, or is healthy enough to play the game to the way we expect him to play the game, I think this Ohio State team is rolling after a couple of those losses that they took. They really bounced back and have been able to get on their stride, and I think they'll keep it going and put their name in consideration for trying to make the playoff football, and they're going to knock out Wisconsin.
Auburn collides with Georgia in the SEC championship. Billy, who you got in that one?
I got Auburn. I mean, I don't know how you can't take Auburn after that game against Alabama.
Yeah.
Just the dominating, or not necessarily dominating points-wise, but it just looked like they had control over that game for the majority of it. For that reason, I think they're going to keep this train rolling. I'm taking Auburn.
Yeah, I think Auburn as well. I mean, Georgia's a good football team, but they've already lost to Auburn. Now, don't sleep on the Bulldogs though, because Auburn did blow them out. But I just think Auburn, their defense is so good. Still's finally fitting into that offense. I think Auburn's the best team right there.
Yeah. Miami takes on Clemson. Kyle, who you got?
I'm going to go with Clemson Tigers. I think Miami's a good team this year. I think they're not as good as their record speaks, if that makes sense. I know they only have one loss. I just don't think they're as good as a one-loss team.
Yeah.
Had a couple games that they got away with, but Clemson's a better football team. Kelly Bryant can lead that team. The defense is it's just a monster out there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Clemson as well. Just exactly what you said. The defense of Clemson right now is just really tremendous. I think it's much higher than anything that Miami has seen all year. They haven't. I mean, they've got some good wins, as you said, but nothing that really sticks out to the eye. And I think they were riding that undefeated train as far as they could go. And now with this one loss on it, I think it's going to dampen their moods. And I think Clemson's going to be able to take advantage.
It ought to be a good weekend of college football.
I think we're in set for a wild week of college football.
Well, that's going to do it. That's the final edition of MCTV Sports 101. Me and Billy will be graduating. We appreciate everyone that has tuned in the past and has watched us through, I guess, the last couple of years.
Yeah,
it's
two
been a fun
years
run
now. It's been a great time. I just want to thank everybody who's been around and helped the show. Josh, Katie, Abby, Carly, Nick, anybody that we failed to mention that's come in here and spent a couple of extra minutes of their time helping us do this show. It's been a wonderful experience for us, and we hope that you've enjoyed everything that we've been able to put on for you.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone watching, and hopefully that we can get someone to continue it for us. That's going to do it for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Until next time.